Time flies when you're having fun. Hello, everyone. We are set to go into our work session. This is December 12th, and we are in preparation for our last meeting of the year, which is December the 16th. It's always amazing to me how quickly the year flies by. But anyway, so we have today in our work session our building inspector, Mr. Steen McMullen, our building official, Steen McMullen, is going to provide to us a summary of the 2024 ICC code changes that we'll be adopting. He has meticulously gone through and looked at them and has created a summary for us as I have asked him to do, so that we can stay on top of all of those changes that are being made and we can be current with those things. So, Mr. McMullen, it's you, and I think you're backed up by the fire marshal over here. So Mark McCurdy is available for, since they have most of the changes. All right, well, I will leave it to you then.
All right, we've been looking for 6 months now to update from the 2021 codes to 2024 ICC codes and the 2023 National Record Code. And we're going to go through some of the changes and why we need to update. One of them is going to have to stay on the same cycle as the state, because they just updated to 2024. There's not a lot of changes, which is always a good thing. And then it addresses new technologies such as lithium batteries and EV charging and home and commercial uses. In the building code, pretty much the biggest change is going to be the very first one, is the floor assemblies and type 3 constructions required that the floor is rated the same as the wall. It's not really a construction problem, it's more going to be the design problem. The designers are the ones that have complained the most about it, trying to get the design to meet the wall. But it ain't going to be a huge problem as far as cost or anything like that. Occupier roofs are now viewed same as a floor when it comes to means of egress. Before, they were viewed a little different. So now, if you have X amount of occupants, you got to have 2, 3, 4 exits down the side. And then they've added insulated metal panels is another big thing. But now there's a section on it, how it's to be manufactured, fire ratings, wind load. Before, it didn't have a lot of the wind load stuff like it. And then we're going to add 3 appendixes. Appendix F, self-explanatory rodent proofing. I is for patio covers, and P is for loss, sleeping loss. There was nothing that dictated the size of sleeping loss. Now in commercial buildings, which this would only apply to apartment complexes of 4 units or larger for this slide system. But there is one in the residential code as well. Here's residential. Vertical stacked dwelling is the biggest change. Now, when you have a duplex where it's on top of each other, you got to put a notification device in each unit connected to a detector in the other unit. Before it would stand alone. Now, if the one in the bottom has a alarm go off, you know it's going off. Or before it's just, you hope they come and knock on the door and you heard it. And then the sleeping laws, it's talking about ceiling height, minimum square footage of 70 feet, and then you got to have a permanent means of egress. Instead of just a ladder you can put up there and take down, now it's got to be permanent mounted. And then barriers for protecting energy storage systems, since so many people are doing solar against vehicles in garages and stuff like that.
On your ceiling height, what's the ceiling height on the sleeping loft?
3 feet.
I'm 5'2" and I'm still not going to sleep if I can't stand up, so.
The minimum is 3 feet. There is a exception that you can go lower than 3 feet, but then the size can only be 35 square feet. But 3 feet is, yeah.
And you're saying the ladder has to be affixed to the climbing structure, to the upper structure?
Permanently in place. It cannot be where you take it down.
But it can still be a ladder.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, you can still use ladders. We're going to add appendices that we haven't had, being that we are getting a lot of requests for some tiny homes. This just gives us, before if somebody came in and wanted to do a tiny home, they still had to meet the residential code for ceiling height, square footage, and all that. With this, you can get with smaller sleeps and heights. It allows you to do sleeping loss. And then it's got to be at least 170 square feet or up to 450 at a time. Anything under 170 square feet is not allowed as a tiny home. And then accessory dwelling units, we're adding that. Doesn't dictate zoning, it's just how it is to be separated. Now it has to have, we required it to have separate utilities. This just gives a way to make sure it's done code-wise. And then the ones below it are different building methods. And we figured the best way to use that is with a special exception instead of just having it in there, because they look different than your typical buildings in neighborhoods. Like light straw clay is basically hay with clay mixed in with it, kind of adobe style. But the walls are real wide. Strawville construction is actually 2-foot wide bales of hay stacked together with walls put on the outside, so your exterior walls are all 2 foot. Windows are usually a little smaller.
We got some people who are constructing buildings like that in
They've
Starkville?
been watching great designs and
We
they're
just
branching
add them
out.
just in case.
Is that not a fire hazard?
Yeah, really?
Well, that's the thing, it just dresses the fire hazard, like electrical and stuff like that can't be put in it, it has to be put on the exterior.
So you can't, I mean, hay that's wet in hot weather will catch fire.
And mold grows
Yeah.
great.
Okay.
Well,
Same thing.
should we, okay, so we're saying that if you want to do it, it's a special exception,
Yes.
as opposed to, no, you cannot do it.
I have no problem eliminating some of them.
Okay.
Like the Starkville construction.
Hello, Mr. Haviland, you got any thoughts on any of that?
This is all stuff that's been established across the country. They've been doing those type of houses for decades.
Well, I
We haven't
understand.
had anybody request it here, but. it's
We might now.
Well, parts of
harder
the,
to overcome than it's been.
parts of the community or parts of the country differ in the things that they use, so, okay, all right. Go ahead, sorry.
No problem. And then the tile construction is basically adobe style. Imp line construction is very similar to the light straw clay. And then 3D printing. It's a matter of time before MSU does a 3D house, and that's one of the reasons we really added that one. And they do look significantly different than other houses.
Yeah? I'll have to Google it. What does a 3D house look like?
It's done in layers of about 3 inches. Basically, it's printed
Yeah.
walls, and it has a
Is it
unique
concrete?
texture.
Is
Yes.
it concrete?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, wait a minute. But I think they did a piece on that, like on 60 Minutes or something. They were doing it in Texas.
There's a few cities there's a neighborhood in Texas that's all it is.
Yeah. Cool. Okay.
Here's the biggest change is the fire code. Just about the first couple changes of lithium battery storage requirements, sprinkler requirements. Before, there was nothing about how to store lithium batteries. And this addresses, because we got a few bad places that have batteries, if they ever go to store them, then like interstate battery, their building is not required to be sprinkled now, but if they store lithium, it would trigger it.
And that's an automatic trigger as opposed to a grandfather, right?
Because the
Okay.
use will be changed into
Okay.
where they're storing those.
Okay.
Fire alarm is added to that too. Marty, you can probably explain that one better.
Yeah, it just adds additional requirements for fire alarm systems where you store lithium batteries,
Okay.
which previously was not indicated.
Okay. Is that something we would find out, that people are starting to store lithium or have lithium batteries?
Should, and there's a quantity once they hit it. that
So it's not just one, it's a,
Right.
okay.
It ain't your seat rechargeable lithium batteries either.
At my house, okay.
Okay.
Carbon dioxide detector is now required when there's any kind of device that will produce carbon dioxide in commercial buildings.
So commercial.
Yes, like this building would require them now,
Okay.
because we use heat or gas to heat.
Okay.
Appendix that he added is fire flow requirements for buildings. It just makes it a calculation of it so much easier to use that, so we don't have to use formulas for everything. Fire hydrant location distribution. Already kind of used that. This just gives us the adopted appendix. It's more of a guide, and it sets forth what the locations and distance are for hydrants.
And we're already doing that?
Yes.
Okay, so this is not gonna be something that's outside of our norm.
Only one that's gonna be outside of norm is probably E and F.
Okay.
Everything else we've done on here. The fire graves, access roads, we've used. The hazard categories, it's for storage of hazard chemical that gives us easier way to classify it. Same thing with the hazard rating, easier way to rate.
Okay.
Fire protection systems in non-compliant conditions, you want to explain that too, Mark?
It just helps clarify how you deal with a building that's out of compliance for sprinkler systems, fire alarm systems, things of that nature. This is
Step right on up here and share that with us.
This is really just a guide that, it's already in the code, in the
Uh-huh.
actual chapters.
Okay.
This is just an appendix that helps explain it better.
Okay.
So if you come into a building like this and the sprinkler system is not compliant,
Uh-huh.
it tells you how to handle that situation.
Okay, and does it have to be done immediately, or is that a grandfathered situation as well, or
Well,
what's
it would
the?
be something that they would have, especially if the building's occupied.
Yeah.
So it depends, unoccupied building versus occupied.
Well, let's assume
building.
occupied,
Yeah,
so,
so yeah, no, it would be something that they would have to address sooner than later.
okay,
Yeah.
And it also addresses historical buildings.
okay,
Because most historical buildings, no matter what, it may be non-compliant even after this is done.
okay.
Because they have so many exemptions.
And do they have to come into compliance for safety purposes?
It depends.
All righty then. Is this occupied versus unoccupied again?
No, it depends on how they classify it with the historical and what, if you're gonna change the appearance, no, you don't have to do it.
Okay,
But if you don't change the appearance or the function of that building, yes, you have to bring it up, stuff
okay, that was clear as mud.
like that. Yes, it is.
Okay,
It's not easy dealing with historical buildings.
Historical appearance trumps safety.
Yes, it does.
Okay.
The appearance trumps life safety and historical buildings.
well, that's fascinating. Okay.
And then O, Mark, you want one of them? Valet trash and recycling collection art.
This is something new, that the code's now addressing, so you take a place like the Vista, you have a large multi-story R2 occupancy, which is basically an apartment building, and it tells them how they collect their trash.
And that's fire related?
Absolutely, so like fire chutes.
Oh.
Chutes where you can go up
Okay.
to the 5th floor and drop your trash and it drops
Okay.
all the way down, and there's shafts
Okay.
in the building.
Okay.
This just addresses it. It also addresses, they've gotten to where, especially in larger cities, where people can actually put their trash in the hallway of an apartment building, and somebody will come around and pick up their trash.
Mm.
Obviously, that's not something we do here,
Yeah.
but in
Yeah.
larger places. So this just addresses it, should that ever become an issue, where they can't, essentially, they can't leave their trash.
And block the exits, okay,
Exactly.
block the hallways, block the exits, okay. Okay, interesting,
And that's the biggest section.
okay,
Electrical code, the changes in it is, it's required all receptacles in kitchens to be GFCI protected now instead of just the ones within 6 feet of water. And one of the issues I'm having, we're still talking to some people, is the next one, optional, not the next one, it's the third one. Optional on kitchen islands now. You don't have to put outlets on the islands if you don't want to. But if you do, it's supposed to either be pop-up type or they have to be above the countertop.
so not in the countertop,
Yes, not,
Okay.
and the issue I have with that, we're looking at whether we want to leave it the way it is now, we still have to put them on the ends. Because if you put the pop-up type, over time, you spill orange juice, you gotta replace it. And stuff like that, and then a lot of people don't put the 2-layered counter on the island where you can put the outlets in there, so you have no choice but to put them on. But it does allow you where you don't even have to put them if you want. So we're still debating on whether to still require them on the ends, or at least give you the option of doing basically whatever you want.
Make it on GFI or the pop-up type, is that a
They
possibility?
still have to be GSI.
Okay.
The next one is GSCI for specific appliances. It's requiring electric ranges, wall-mounted ovens, and microwaves, clothes dryers to have GSE application no matter what. The clothes dryers is the one in the microwaves that I don't understand.
Is there a comma in between microwaves and clothes
Yeah,
dryers?
there should be.
Okay, because I didn't know if maybe they were making microwave clothes dryers,
There
and I was
should be.
gonna be really interested in that.
There
Okay.
should be one there.
Okay.
So the ranges, all the electrics behind the wall, GFCI, you needed a breaker, you don't need an outlet. If we did it, it's gonna be, had to be breakers on most of these. Breakers are a little more expensive than outlets, but you ain't gotta move the appliance to go trip it if it trips.
Okay.
So we're thinking about just either, maybe we gotta do breakers, not outlets, or just leave it the way it is, where those appliances do not have to be GSI protected.
So
And right now, they're not protected.
I got that part. So, but the breaker offers that as an option?
Yes, that is an option to
Okay.
make a break.
Okay.
The bottom one is actually a little cost saving. Now you can do a 10-ounce branch circuits for lighting and exhaust fans within a home. Before, everything pretty much had to be a 15-ounce or 20-ounce main to power the 10-ounce.
Okay.
And it's a little cost saving, not much. Plumbing code, plumbers are not gonna like that tracer wires are now required for plastic sewer piping. But-
Edward will be happy.
But we have a huge issue with all the boring around town that the
Mhm.
air can get destroyed.
Yep.
So it's required that tracer wire above the sewer line from the main to the house to help locate it there.
Yep.
And then soap dispensers in all laboratories have to have, in public bathrooms, have to be in place.
Really?
Yeah.
As opposed to a,
Do they have to be full?
It just says soap dispensers.
so you could, stupid question, you could put a soft soap in there as long as it's a soap dispenser. You just have to have soap in your public bathroom.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Appendix C is just structural safety, when it's about pouring through walls and stuff like that, to make sure you don't get studs. It's pretty much already done, it's just giving more teeth to us being able to enforce it. Chimney connector pass-throughs, this just gives us how it's supposed to be done, it mirrors what's in the code, but it tells you exactly what you need to do to it, or explains it better than what the code explains. And then A and B are basically for sizing of gas pipes and draft for the fuel gas.
Oh, the two A go together there? Appendix A, Appendix A?
Different.
I think they must be in different
Mechanical,
Oh, okay,
sections.
so that's under a different, okay, I'm
Yeah,
sorry, I got it.
yes.
I didn't go to the back parentheses,
Yes.
thank you, yes.
So in the fuel gas code, sizing, this one is about the sizing of gas pipes. Right now, we rely on it to be designed right. This lets us, gives us a chart to be able to say, hey, yes, you did this. Same thing for the beginning of appliance equipment with this and cups. It gives us a little bit more guidance on how to do it, or how it's supposed to be done. And then property maintenance code, accessible features have been added to it. Now it has to be maintained. The property maintenance code can go in and say, all right, the sidewalk leads to the building, it's broken, you gotta fix it. Or your push button on your door is not open, it has to be fixed. Before it didn't address any accessible features in the property maintenance code. The next one is not an issue yet for us. Storm shelters and community storm shelters are required to be evaluated yearly,
When you say community, we do have a storm shelter.
but that's owned by the county.
Okay, so even if it's in the city limits?
We have no say-so over county property
Okay,
unless they ask us to
Okay.
look at it.
okay.
But if we built, say, school builds one, yes, we have one.
So we have authority over the school, but not over the county?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
The next one is the addition we're gonna add is adding a section for cooling requirements with a max temperature of 8 degrees.
Okay,
The code does not address cooling requirements. All it addresses heating. And we've had so many complaints over the past 3-4 years about AC being broke. The only thing we can go back on is mechanical equipment working. This gives us a temperature range that it has to meet. And it's gonna set out the temporary use of window units and stuff like that, and how to measure this temperature of 80 degrees. A lot of cities have started doing this. I think we may be the first in Mississippi that would do a temperature requirement for cooling, but it's got more, it's
And is
way more common.
80 the standard for that in other locations?
80 is the most typical one that the places have used. It's either 78, 80, or 85. And majority have used, in our area, has used 80.
Well, we don't have anybody in our area, you
Well,
just
in the
said.
southeast.
In the southeast, okay.
Atlanta, New Orleans has used 80.
Okay.
Does it put some, and I know it'd be kind of hard to do, but like a time frame on?
Well, that's what I was going to ask because, you know, for those of us who have people who, I mean, we put in window units, but sometimes you can't get somebody to make a repair as quickly as you would like, so.
Yes, we're going to address the length of time and all that on this. We just still working through some of this ordinances that we've got at other places.
Okay.
To figure out exactly how it does.
Okay.
Because most of them say if you got temporary, as long as it's maintained and temporary, just say a window unit
Yeah.
is not blocking an emergency egress or something like that, it's basically you use it as permanent.
Well, I mean, people do that too.
Yes.
So, yeah, okay.
So as long as you got an alternate and as long as it's feasible, it doesn't cause a problem, they'll allow it. But if it's a temporary emergency use, it's a different story. It's like 2 to 3 weeks or something like that.
Okay.
And then the Kennedy is temporary emergency use. That's if we have a storm come through, a bunch of people are gonna have power, need a shelter. It allows us to overlook fire codes and building codes for certain usage. So like we had to put people up here sleeping, egress, we wouldn't have to worry about our bathroom facilities to meet that requirement, stuff like that.
For emergencies?
Yes.
And how, are they defining emergencies?
No, they're not.
Okay.
It's left up to local jurisdiction.
Well, we would declare one, I guess, because we've got history in doing that. Okay.
And that was it. There was
Okay.
one code we didn't have any changes, was the swimming pool code. And
Okay.
that there was one addition of an appendix for maintenance, but they should be maintained to it.
Okay.
But that's
All right.
pretty much.
When do you plan, I see you, Mike. When do you plan on bringing that forward for the board to adopt?
I think it was Daniel, like advertisement and how soon we get all that done. and-
Okay.
But sooner than later.
February, something like that?
Yes.
Okay. All right. You just said you were working out some of the details of the emergency piece of it, so. Okay, all right. Yes. Yes, sir. Mr. Brooks.
Just right off the top of your head, do you know about the patio covers, that appendix?
That finish basically is given wind loads of it, the material, lane spread and stuff like that. Before you could just put the cover over it, and that's what, just making sure it meets certain.
I got
You're not talking about umbrellas then?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I've seen some of these sliding covers and stuff like that. I mean,
If there's a UL, if they are listed as that UL, they usually look at too.
Okay, all right.
Or the LFM, not the other stuff.
Thanks, sir. Appreciate it. Thanks, mate.
Yes, ma'am?
What does it say, back to swimming pools, when you backwash a pool, where is that water supposed to run? Like not in a street or somebody's yard, do we have that in there?
You can't discharge it onto somebody else's property.
Okay,
But I gotta read that a little closer because it does not allow you to discharge into a sewer system. But it doesn't.
Into a
say
storm
you
drain?
Can't direct it to the gutter or a ditch.
okay, I've
But you
had
just
several calls about pools when they backwash, or when they like drain them. It's flooding some people's yards.
We had one that we addressed that they actually pipe it to the edge of the property line.
Yeah,
And basically all they do, they cut 5 feet off of it and they meant to cut it. Is electric.
So do we need to be more specific about that? Because you said we didn't change anything. We need to be more specific about where we, well, let's look and see, because it may be, we may
I'll
be,
get with them too and see what they suggest as well.
Okay.
Since it's gonna affect them
Right.
before we send it.
Right.
The setback.
okay, all right, well, let's just take a look at it and see. As long as we're doing the looking, let's be thorough about what we're doing, so. Okay.
Can do.
Yeah. Anything else? Anybody else? Any other questions? All right, thank you very much. I appreciate it. All right. We will look forward to seeing that in 2026. All right, next items, will we go through our agenda? And we'll have one set of minutes, as we did not have a work session due to the holiday for Thanksgiving, so we will have one set of minutes. And Mr. Huskisson, you've seen those, all good?
They are done.
Okay. Any issue with consent for those? Okay. And then I'll make some announcements about the Christmas holiday garbage schedule, the city holiday schedule. We've got employee introductions, and then also the Jackson 389 and 182 intersection. And we may add a little bit to if we're just gonna make this kind of thing from a transportation standpoint, we might add the issue with the Russell Street closing or Highway 12 Stone Boulevard closing as well, and we'll have some maps with that. We have some of those, don't we, Cody? I believe you put some of that out?
For the MSU project?
Yeah.
Check to do it for us, yes, ma'am.
Okay, well, we'll keep that, Joel, and have that on the website and have that up, and in fact, I'll probably just let you talk about it, Cody, since it's coming under mayor's comments, but you'll have a much better handle on it than that, so, yes, sir.
Quick question, Cody, I know I was copied on that email that you discussed with the DOT, Mississippi Department of Transportation about that and about the issue now we're thinking it's going to impact Spring Street. Did you get any kind of feedback from those guys? No, I didn't figure so.
Yeah, I've been a part of several conversations, the pre-construction meeting, design meetings, I've sent in emails, I've sent that correspondence pretty frequently, but I have not been told we are going to adjust the light based on this.
Yeah.
It's probably going to be one of those things where they get the calls when it happens, and we did it, but they know about it, they're completely aware.
This
They
thing-
do control the timing on the signal, I would just say that.
Right. And I understand this is like a July, they're looking at July
Yes, sir.
completion date
Yeah.
on it. Okay, thank you.
Well, and while we're at it, my understanding from the email about we are now in charge because we're over 20,000 or over 25,000, whatever it was, that becomes our responsibility, does it not, in terms of managing and timing?
The timing does not, they look at the issue called infrastructure, the cabinet, the cameras, they consider that our responsibility from a maintenance perspective.
But that's all? Because I read that differently.
The timing is still housed from DOT. They will turn that over to the community. Richland maintains their version of Highway 12 and their timings, but it's because they've built enough trust with DOT that they have that experience. We are a little bit behind on that. So the contract with Chris Bryson that's coming in to help with our cameras and signals, that's getting us to that point where we can do it in-house.
Okay.
It's not quite there yet.
Okay, but that's also going to incur that additional cost associated with those boxes and
Yes, ma'am.
all that, right? Are we looking at doing that within this next capital improvement project year?
We are, so my thoughts are to start on the east end by Spring Street and work west as far as Highway 12 goes. It's
Yep.
between Montgomery and Spring is the highest traffic count in Starkville.
Mhm.
So you can take care of those two first and then move west generally.
Okay, all
So
right.
we're working on numbers for those. I don't have a cost estimate, but it's in the works.
Okay, well, let's plan on a little bit more robust discussion as it relates to the intersections and the closings and that sort of thing, so. Vice Mayor? Hang on just a second, Chris. Vice Mayor?
Thanks for the recognition, Mayor. Given the fact that this closure of this major intersection is set to commence on Wednesday, and since we're gathered here, I would take it, Mayor, that you will be giving some directive to the staff to get the signage out as soon as possible to put the traveling public on notice about the closure of the intersection. In other words, those that are traveling in that vicinity, we'll be putting signage out to direct the traffic, just like we're doing the 182 intersection. We wrote, 182, you directed down Reed, 182 Hospital. So we'll be getting the same, because Winston's almost at home, so.
It is. Mr. Williams, you can address that.
So that falls under the contractor, so those detour plans, they're actually starting on the signs, and they'll have them up ahead of it. What they'll do is they'll put them up ahead and then they'll bag them, and so then Wednesday, they'll pull them off whenever they actually swap, is on that one. So they're working on that now to get that lined out. We'll talk to them the first part of the week to make sure that they had it ahead of schedule.
Okay,
Mayor,
all right,
one
thank you.
follow-up question.
Yes.
I'll direct it to the chair. Mayor, a specific response I like from the project manager is, he said they were working on it. Wednesday is just a few days from now. Would you get some idea from him as to when maybe potentially they're gonna start putting the signs up
Well,
across the Tuesday.
Sure. Well, if the signs are, even if the signs are up now, they're going to bag them, Vice Mayor, so they won't unveil them until it becomes effective.
I'll find out for sure and let everybody know when those will be installed.
Okay, all right. But they will be bagged until they become effective, right?
Before they become, but they,
Confusing otherwise.
just for that reason, they can't snap their fingers and have it that, so that's how they get ahead of it, and make sure that they get it
Right.
installed in time.
Okay, all right.
But what I was wanting to catch you on that, to let everybody know as well, is our plans came in, this week for our Highway 12 median project. And so we're gonna start that Tuesday. So it'll be from Louisville to Patriots Avenue will be the two medians that we do first. And so that'll start Tuesday. on
Okay.
that one. So there'll be another traffic related.
We'll have some folks out working in the medians, in other
The
words.
medians. So there'll be, the inside lanes will be closed, so that way our guys will be safe to replace those trees. And
Okay.
so the streets department's doing the traffic control and the sanitation guys are installing it.
Okay. Well, then the best thing is to stay off 12. You don't have an option. Do some crossing as opposed to traveling down it. All right. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Hey, Mayor, a quick question
Yes, William.
Oh, I forgot
for,
about them.
for Cody, as it pertains to the timing of those lights and the closure of my 389. Were you able to get an answer about that light at Christ?
Yes, sir. What Alderman Pungup's referring to is the detour from 182 or southbound and northbound goes through Christ Street to Montgomery. So there is a light in Christ. This is not dissimilar to the light at Reed and 182. So yes, the answer is we will go in and update the timing. We can do that in-house to ensure that it's ready for additional traffic. It's a great
Awesome. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. All right, anything else? All right, great. So we will have, under board business, we have the consideration of reappointing Edward. We reappointed Chris Smiley, and I did not realize that Edward's term was up as well, so we need to reappoint him to the landfill authority. So consent for that one? Okay, thank you. And then under the airport, we have a donation of an aviation Fox cart model, which Mr. Lincoln says that they can use. And so all the paperwork associated with that, Ms. McLaurin, is being done so that it meets the needs. Okay, all right. Yes, sir?
Starts aircraft. It lets us start airplanes
Yes.
without running our batteries. We just plug up to it.
Yes,
That's it. This
Okay.
is a nice one too. He
Well,
sent me the.
that's what I was told, is it was a good
It's 28
quality.
volts,
one, so-
1200 amps, so it's a nice one.
Okay, consent for that one? Nice people willing to donate things to us. All right, Mr. Haviland, we have the downtown temporary sidewalk tent policy.
Yeah, this is a policy that came out of the Main Street project. As soon as the very first section was open, the merchants started putting tents out there, which caused a little confusion with code enforcement on whether they should be there or not. So this policy is aimed at kind of addressing that, put some standards on it.
Okay, and you've worked with Main Street in order to do
Yeah,
that,
we
so
went back
they're,
and forth with several drafts, they shared with all their constituents, and they're good with the way the permit is.
okay, all right, just keeps it from being a permanent situation.
Just put requirements on it, so
Right.
there's no permit fee or permit required, it's just you need to meet this set of standards.
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
glad we're addressing that, because that was even an issue somewhat before the construction.
Correct, and before the construction, we'd have a lot of sidewalks, it was mainly an issue if it's completely blocked.
Blocked.
Now we have a lot of sidewalk, we need to make sure that.
Still not blocked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, consent for that one? Okay. And then we have a special event request with the Cotton District Arts Festival. So they have put it on, and it is now going to be a permanent fixture for that weekend of every year, right?
Every
So
year,
we
they're rolled that weekend, that way they can get the vendors
Right.
that they intend on getting every year. The only different thing this year is there's gonna be a shift on University to go more toward the west, to get out of the way of the construction of the Madeline.
Madeline.
and all that.
Okay, so the footprint may change a little bit, but the
Right.
date is
And
not going
what-
to change.
The map that showed in there is the maximum area possible, it's going to be smaller when it's
Okay.
finally got all the vendors listed out and everything. But we're trying to keep Colonel Road open and also trying to keep Goodman open, so it's good circulation around.
Okay, cool. Consent for that one? Okay, thank you. Under engineering, Mr. Burnett, back again. Professional services for the complete streets. You want to go into that a little bit?
Yes, ma'am. Well, we actually briefed the board on the last meeting that Aaron contract, so I'll bring it back to mess up an issue there. But then the long and short is this contract helps us with our complete street policy, some of the subdivision regulations, and really, how do we have a policy that encourages bike and scooters and keeps them safe?
Okay.
That would be, it's
Okay.
nasty.
All right, consent for that one? All right. Then we have the sole source quote for the Trail Boss trailers, and this is just a redeck one that we currently have.
Yes, ma'am.
It's
This one's-
failing, basically. Consent for that one? Okay, thank you. And then a low quote for the Village Bus Stop. This is our participation with the Smart Bus. And in fact, former Alderman Dumas, excuse me, is going to come to us with his usual presentation that's necessary for him to achieve that grant. He'll be coming to us the second meeting in January. So then this is a part of what we have agreed to over the years to help facilitate our portion of the benefit we get from the Smart Bus system. So consent for that one? Okay. And then we have, skipping the claims docket, we have the November financials. Anything, nothing, Mr. Corbin? Okay, so consent for that one? And an agreement with Tyler Technologies to add the project accounting module. Apparently, we have been utilizing the project accounting module, but they haven't been billing us for it. So this is, we're being billed, and so we can just be pleased that we got away with it for however many years. And consent for that one? All right, thank you. Nothing under the fire department, HR. So we have part-time dispatcher. None of this is, where's State? There you are, you're hiding back there. None of these are new positions, right? No. Okay, so we have a part-time dispatcher, we have temporary commercial driver, sanitation worker, and then there's a disciplinary action. Consent for those items? Consent, okay. And then there's a disciplinary action being recommended by Mr. Smiley. So consent for that one? Consent. Okay. And then under the police department, we have surplus, which is always a good thing, getting rid of stuff that's not needed, hanging around. Consent for that one? Okay. And then applying for a Bulletproof Vest partnership grant, so $18,000. Is that a, okay, is that a shared or is that 100%? Do we know? 100%? Okay, it usually is, I just didn't, you never know when they change them, so.
It didn't indicate in the
Okay.
paperwork.
Consent, okay, thank you. Sanitation department, Mr. Smiley has decided on the garbage bags, and to be noted on this, he went through multiple looks at the garbage bags that were sent to him as a part of that bid, and we are having to settle. We are settling on the fourth one down the list with all the justification appropriate for it, because he was unable to guarantee that the things that they sent that were samples were what we were going to be getting in the rolls. And so I believe we've got the paperwork associated with it. Yeah, Vice Mayor.
Mayor, just one very quick observation, which is need to be articulated right now. I just want to commend the department head for his thoroughness and meticulousness and explain how he arrived at that. And I'm sure our honorable city clerk has some involvement given her role as city clerk. I want to commend both of them. That's what you said.
Okay, well, absolutely. And I know Mr. Smiley spent a lot of time going through that, so we appreciate it. So consent for that one? Consent. Okay. And then we, under utilities, have a utility locate software. Mr. Kemp, anything you want to share with us about this?
This is a renewal.
Okay. Okay, all right, consent for that one? And then lowest bids received for source of supply, our usual source of supply requirement. So consent for that one? All right, thank you very much. And then we do have one executive session matter. You should have that information in your packet, and we can talk about it in executive session if the board so chooses. Okay, anything else? Anyone else? All right, we'll look forward to seeing you, everyone. Have a great weekend, and we will see you on Tuesday. Thank you.
Thank you.